Yeah, can't wait for the game tonight. Looking forward to watching that. But real interesting about our vacation, you were just at Port St. Joe.
Yeah, I went last weekend. It's beautiful, so everybody should enter. It was lots of fun. We went scalloping. Although I think the scalloping season ended, but that was my first time to do it, so it's lots of fun down there, lots to do.
All right, so she said it's beautiful. There's a first-hand tip that you need to enter the contest and go check it out. Sounds good. Looks good what we're making in the kitchen. Tell the folks what we're going to do today. Today
we are going to make some meatballs with a sweet and sour sauce, and we're also going to make some chocolate chip cookies. Two simple recipes that you could use all through the tailgating football season. So first we're going to get started on the meatballs, and we're going to put together the sauce first.
Okay.
And what it calls for is 1 jar of chili sauce. I have a skillet here just over kind of medium-low heat. We're going to melt all this together. And we're also going to add a 10-ounce jar of apricot preserves. And you could also use peach, would be really good too.
Apricot or apricot?
I say apricot.
All right, weigh in on our Studio 10 Facebook page. We've got another poll going on there.
And to that, we are going to add the juice of an orange, fresh orange, or orange, I guess you could say.
I say orangey is what I say. Just kidding, I don't say that.
And if a seed gets in there, we can pick that out. And if any of the pulp gets in there, that is just fine.
This is going to be very citrusy sauce here.
Yeah, it's very good. The orange adds just a fresh taste to it. We're also going to add a little bit of sweetness with a 1/4 cup of brown sugar.
I like that.
We can bump the heat up a little bit. And if you'd like, you can start whisking that together for me.
Sure.
And a tablespoon of red wine vinegar to offset some of that sweetness. And I'll get our seed out.
I'll let you do that.
Hurt anybody. And a little bit of salt. And after that kind of heats together and it starts simmering, we're going to make a slurry with some cornstarch, and that's going to thicken our sauce up a little bit. So we're going to wait and get that melted together and do that. In the meantime, I'll get together the meatballs. I have 1.5 pounds of ground chuck. Of course, you could use ground beef or sirloin or round, but I'm using chuck today. And to that, I'm going to add 2 eggs, a cup of seasoned breadcrumbs, a couple tablespoons of some green onions. That'll give us some flavor and some color there in our meatballs.
I'm getting kind of excited about this, Lucy. This is looking pretty good.
Good. Well, I hope everybody likes it. A 1/4 cup of milk and some garlic powder, salt, red pepper flakes, and black pepper. And we're just going to get these mixed together. And when you are mixing together meatballs or hamburgers or meatloaf or anything like that, you don't want to pound it and push all of the meat together, because that way it'll come out tough. So you just want to kind of gently mix everything together, and then when it's time to make the patties or make the balls, then you want to apply a little bit more pressure so you don't, make kind of for a tough whatever you're doing.
All right, so we've got both these things started. We've got the sauce. You're working on the meatballs over there. Should we take a break and come back in the next segment and keep working on this?
Yeah, and I'll just show them real quick what size we're looking for. I got that mixed up. And you can do them, the way I did them last night was I made them to about a golf ball size, and that came out with about 24, 25 balls. But you can make them small where they're a little bit more bite size instead of a 2-bite size. So I got a sheet pan lined. We're going to get these rolled up, and I'm going to bake them in a 375 oven for 30 minutes, and they'll be ready to go into our sauce.
All right, sounds great. The recipe is online. We'll talk more about Greer's in the future as well, so stick around. Cherish.
Thanks. So wish you guys could smell how good it smells here in our Studio 10 kitchen. Lucy Greer from Greer's Market and Catering is joining us. And what we're smelling, we have the meatballs in the oven, and they smell fantastic. The sauce smells so good, too. We're doing some tailgate food today. NFL season kicks off tonight. College football season already started, so you're looking for some good stuff to cook. That's what you're helping us out with.
Yeah, 2 easy recipes. Like you said, we have our meatballs in the oven, and I saved saved one just to show y'all how pretty they are. We did our ground chuck, we did some breadcrumbs, some milk, we put green onions in there, and as you can see, you know, that kind of just brightens things up a little bit. We have some garlic powder, some red pepper flakes, and salt and pepper. So what I did is rolled them all up, and they are baking in the oven at 375 for about 30 minutes.
Okay.
And we also got started on our sauce. This was 1 jar of chili sauce, some apricot preserves, a little bit of brown sugar, the juice of an orange, some red wine vinegar, and a little bit of salt. And now that it's to a bubble, I told y'all that we would thicken it up a little bit. So what I have in this bowl is a tablespoon of cornstarch. And now we're just going to add an equal part, which is a tablespoon of water in here. I'm going to mix this up with my fork. And this is going to thicken our sauce a touch. This is called a slurry. So now that it's at a bubble like that, a simmer, we're going to drizzle this in, and it will thicken up the sauce slightly. And then after the meatballs come out of the oven, we will put them in there and let them get all coated in the sauce. So I'm just going to whisk this in, and then this will be fine to just go and simmer and wait for those meatballs so we can get started on the cookies. Would you mind finishing that for me?
Don't mind at all.
Thank you.
And this recipe, both of these recipes are on fox10tv.com on the Studio 10 page. And you
Good.
mentioned earlier when Joe was in the kitchen that if you want to substitute the apricot preserves with peach preserves, that would be good as well.
Definitely. And speaking of substitutions, you could also do this recipe with ground turkey as well. So that would work out just fine.
Okay.
So for our sweet tooth, we're going to make some chocolate chip cookies, just a simple recipe. We have a stick of unsalted butter softened in this bowl, and I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of regular granulated white sugar and 1/2 cup of brown sugar.
Okay.
I'm just going to use my hand mixer to help me get that started in here.
And not to change gears, but with this sauce that we're doing, do we want to constantly whisk this?
Good question. No, after you get your slurry mixed in like you did, we can just let it go and kind of simmer away, and it'll be just fine.
Okay.
So I will get this all mixed together, and of course, y'all know when you're making cookies, you really need that butter softened. Otherwise, it's not going to cream together like this.
Right.
So we will get this in, and we're also going to add an egg to this.
Okay. Here's the other question. Prior to adding the egg, how do you keep from eating the cookie dough? That's the problem in my household. What about you guys? Like, oh, there's not enough cookie dough left.
I know, there's nothing better than a little bit of cookie dough. Now I'm going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla.
Okay.
And after we get that going, we are going to add in 1 1/4 cup of just regular all-purpose flour.
Okay.
And at this point, it becomes important, not to go too crazy with it. You just want
Which
to,
you almost did.
yeah, which I almost did. Once you see that the flour gets absorbed by the butter and the sugar, you want to stop. You don't want to just go to town and keep mixing and mixing and mixing, because you don't want to have tough cookies. Kind of like I was telling y'all about the meatball mixture. When I mixed that together, I just did it lightly and didn't press, because you don't want it to be too tough. And also, we needed to add a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So there it goes.
Okay.
And today, I'm going to use a mini chocolate chip, because those are so good. And that way you get chocolate throughout the whole cookie. And they are, it's a semi-sweet
Okay.
chip.
And the whole bag?
1/2 of the bag.
Oh, good. There's some left over to eat.
Yes, so just a cup of these, and then that's how easy it is. We're going to be ready after we get this mixed in to put them on our cookie sheet. So about a cup.
Okay, and how long are you going to bake them?
We're going to bake these for just 9 to 10 minutes at 375, same baking time as your
Perfect.
meatballs. So that just works out. We'll pull those out, pop these in, they'll be hot and ready to eat.
All right, we'll do that in just a few minutes.
All right, we've got some great stuff in the kitchen, courtesy of Lucy from Greer's Market and Catering. These are our meatballs we've been working on.
They are. They just came out of the oven, and now I'm putting them in the sauce that we made with apricot preserves and chili sauce and a little bit of brown sugar and some orange juice.
Man, this is going to be a flavor explosion.
Yeah, and these are just ready. Once we get them coated in the sauce, they are ready to eat. And we also just pulled our chocolate chip cookies out of the oven. Those were our simple recipe that we threw together, and those only took about 9 or 10 minutes to bake. So we're ready to eat.
These are great foods for game day. As Cherish mentioned, the NFL season kicks off tonight. High school football on Friday. Tons more college games on Saturday. So these are some great ideas. Hey, speaking of which, we wanted to talk about a new Greer's location right here in Mobile.
Yeah, we are thrilled. We purchased the Bell Foods that closed down on Cottage Hill Road, and we are reopened now, and it's opened as a Greer's Cash Saver, and that's a cost plus 10% store. And I just wanted to let everybody know that we had not sacrificed any of the quality. It's still Black Angus beef, all natural pork and chicken, #1 produce. We still have our deli bakery there, and we were so fortunate when we purchased the store. There are so many great employees that were already in the store that we kept on board, so you'll see some familiar faces when you go back in.
That is great. All the same products for less price. It sounds like there's a catch.
No catch. There's no membership card required. There's no gimmicks. It's just the price on the shelf is what it cost us to get it to the shelf from our manufacturer. All that's included in that, and then when you get up to the register, it adds 10%, and that's just to cover the surcharge, the power, the stockers, the cashiers, the management team.
Very cool. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
These look fantastic. The recipes are online. We're going to eat them all after the show, and we'll be right back with more Studio 10.